Over the years in my writings, particularly in The Body Remembers or later in Grace in Motion, I've spoken often about the way the human body carries our stories. Every joy, every loss, every effort we've made is held in the muscles, in the breath, in the quiet intelligence of our cells. And when we reach our 50s and beyond, that story changes. The pages turn more slowly, yes, but they become richer if we know how to listen. There are passages in Grace in Motion where I wrote, "The body does not abandon you with age. It simply begins to ask that you meet it with more kindness, more awareness, and more nourishment than before." That's what we're really talking about today, nourishment, the kind that builds not just muscle, but energy, confidence, and a sense of independence. Because rebuilding muscle after 50 isn't about vanity or appearance, it's about preserving your freedom, your ability to move through the world with ease and joy. Now let's talk about food, real healing, life-giving food. Protein is your most loyal friend on this journey. As we age, our muscles become a little less responsive to it, which means we need to give them just a bit more attention. Think of it as sending your body a love letter 3 times a day in the form of a balanced, protein-rich meal. Start your mornings with something that sets the tone for repair. Eggs with spinach and avocado, a bowl of Greek yogurt with nuts and berries, or a warm bowl of oatmeal topped with chia seeds and almond butter. These are small acts of nourishment that remind your muscles, "I'm more for you." At lunch, lean toward whole, vibrant foods, grilled salmon, lentils, chickpeas, quinoa, leafy greens. These aren't just meals, they're messages of renewal. They carry omega-3s that reduce inflammation, amino acids that rebuild tissue, and minerals that keep your metabolism awake and alive. Dinner should be lighter but equally intentional. Be a warm bowl of soup with beans and vegetables, or a piece of chicken or tofu with roasted vegetables and olive oil. Remember, what you eat in the evening fuels your recovery as you rest. Your muscles don't stop working while you sleep. They heal, they rebuild, they prepare you for tomorrow. And please, don't forget the quiet power of hydration. Water is the medium of every process in the body. Without it, nutrients can't travel, muscles can't recover, and energy fades. Add herbal teas, soups, fruits, all of it counts. Hydration is simply a form of kindness toward your cells. There are also small treasures in nature that support this process beautifully. Turmeric for inflammation, berries for antioxidants, green leafy vegetables for magnesium and iron, and a little sunlight each day for vitamin D. If your diet falls short, a clean protein supplement or omega-3 capsule can be a helpful bridge. But always remember, real food first. Food at its best is sacred. It's not just what we consume, it's how we choose to care for ourselves. Every meal is an opportunity to tell your body that it is still valued, still capable, still becoming. Aging is not weakness, it's a new beginning. Somewhere along the way, society taught us that getting older means slowing down, losing strength, and fading into the background. But that's such a narrow way to look at something so deeply human. Aging is a privilege, a quiet transformation, not a decline. Your body doesn't betray you as the years pass. It simply asks for a different kind of care, a deeper kind of attention. Think about it. The same body that carried you through your wild 20s, through work, family, heartbreak, and joy, is still there. It may have changed, but it hasn't stopped being capable of strength, growth, and renewal. When you cross 50, you enter a stage where awareness becomes your greatest tool. You start noticing how your body responds to things more clearly. You feel the effects of food, movement, and rest more vividly. If your body has turned up the volume, whispering truths you might have ignored before. That not weakness, that wisdom. Your body is guiding you, saying, if you take care of me, I'll take care of you. And it means you can still build, still improve, still transform, only now you do it with intention instead of impulse. The beauty of this stage is that you're not driven by comparison anymore. You're not chasing someone else's physique or performance. You're building strength to live better, to move freely, to enjoy life more deeply. It's no longer about the mirror, it's about the feeling of being alive in your own skin, of waking in with energy instead of stiffness, of walking tall and breathing fully. That power, that renewal. Aging gracefully isn't about staying the same, it's about evolving. Your body knows how to adapt. Muscles may have thinned over time, metabolism may have slowed, but none of that means you can't rebuild. In fact, your body responds beautifully to movement and nourishment at any age when you give it consistency and lum. The key is to move with curiosity, not frustration, to see what your body can do instead of what it is to do. You'll be surprised at how quickly it listens when you give it the right message. Every stretch, every step, every bite of real food, every deep night's sleep, these are acts of rebuilding, not just of muscle, but of identity. Because when you start moving again, when you start fueling yourself properly, something wakes up inside you. You feel a spark you thought was gone. The truth is that spark never left. It was waiting for you to slow down, to reconnect, to remember that growth doesn't stop just because the calendar changed. This new chapter is not about going buying. It's about moving forward with more grace, more undenting, and more appreciation. Aging isn't the end of strength. It's the beginning of conscious strength. Strength that comes from patience, from wisdom, from the beautiful awareness that you are still becoming. Sarcopenia. The word itself sounds heavy, clinical, almost distant. But what it really means is simple. The slow fading of muscle over time. And for many, hearing that word feels like a sentence, as if the body has decided to decline and there's nothing you can do about it. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Sarcopenia is not an ending and awakening. It's your body's quiet signal that it needs your attention again, your care, your participation. It's a reminder that you're not done yet, that you still have the power to shape how you age. When we think of muscle loss, we often think of weakness or fragility, of something slipping away. But what if we saw it differently, as an invitation? Your body isn't breaking down because it's tired of you. It's slowing down because you've stopped asking it to move, to lift, to stretch, to grow. Muscles thrive on challenge. They crave activity, since Trimar. And when we stop giving them that, they adapt. By conserving energy, by shrinking. Sarcopenia isn't the body betraying you, it's the body responding to neglect. And that means the power to change it is already in your hands. What's beautiful about this truth is how simple the solution can be. Movement, nourishment, rest, consistency. These are your tools. You don't have to chase extreme workouts or complicated routines. You just have to remind your muscles that they still matter, that you still lead them. When you start lifting, walking, or even just standing up more often, you're speaking to your body in its own language again. You're saying, "Wake up, I'm still there." And your body listens. It always does. It's fascinating how quickly the body responds to intention, even later in life. You can spend years being inactive, and yet within weeks of consistent movement, your muscles begin to reawaken. You feel steadier, stronger, more alive. It's almost miraculous. But it's just biology doing what it meant to do. The human body was never designed to sit still and fade. It was designed to move, to adapt, to survive. And it will do so as long as you give it reason to. Sarcopenia also teaches humility, the kind that reminds you to listen closely to yourself. You start to notice how food affects your recovery, how a night of good sleep makes you feel powerful again, how stress steals your strength faster than time. It's not about fighting aging, it's about partnering with it. Aging says, "I'll slow you down," and you say, "and I'll learn to move differently." It becomes a dance rather than a battle. The body changes, yes, but change doesn't mean decline. It means transition. And within that transition lies possibility, the chance to rebuild smarter, slower, stronger, to replace the panic of loss with the peace of awareness. Sarcopenia is not a door closing, it's a door opening into a deeper, more conscious kind of strength, one that isn't about youth or appearance, but about resilience, presence, and the beautiful truth that growth never truly ends. Movement is medicine. It's one of the most beautiful truths about being human. The body was designed to move, to bend, to stretch, to lift, to explore. When we stop moving, we don't just lose muscle, we lose connection to ourselves, to our vitality, to the rhythm of life itself. Every muscle, every joint, every heartbeat thrives on motion. It's not about intensity or competition. It's about participation. It's about reminding your body that it still belongs in the dance of living. The tragedy of modern life is how still we've become. We sit more than we move, we scroll more than we stretch, we let convenience replace effort and said, okay, we'll give you 10 days. And I reckon that's a really good test. Let's just try it. And in 1 Thessalonians 5:21, the Bible says, prove all things. That's a challenge. Prove all things and hold fast. And slowly our bodies forget what they were built to do. But the moment you decide to move again, even just a walk down the block, a few gentle stretches, a set of squats by your bed, your body remembers. It wakes up like an old friend, surprised but grateful. There's something healing about movement, something ancient. When you move, you're not just training your body, you're releasing energy that's been stuck. You're telling your mind, I'm alive. For someone over 50, this is everything. Your muscles may have lost some of their youthful elasticity, but your body is still eager to respond. The beauty of this stage is that your body doesn't need punishment, it needs nourishment through motion. Light resistance exercises, yoga, swimming, walking, dancing in your kitchen, each is a conversation between you and your body, a reminder that strength is still within you. It's easy to think that movement has to be dramatic to count, but in truth, the smallest consistent motion carries the biggest transformation. 10 minutes of mindful movement every day builds more than muscle, it builds momentum. Over time, it becomes a ritual, a way of returning home to yourself. And the most wonderful thing about it is how it starts to ripple outward. When you move, your posture changes, your confidence grows, your mind clears, your energy rises. It's not just about lifting weights, it's about lifting your spirit. Your body is incredibly forgiving. Even if you've neglected it for years, the moment you start giving it attention, it begins to heal. Within weeks, your muscles start rebuilding, your balance improves, and your coordination sharp pip. You start feeling more capable, more in control, more at peace. That's why movement is so much more than medicine. Get a declaration that you're not done growing, not done evolving. The key is to listen. Move with kindness, not ego. This isn't about chasing youth, it's about embracing vitality. Feel your body as it moves. Breathe into it. Celebrate it. Every step, every stretch, every slow repetition is your body saying thank you. Thank you for remembering me. Thank you for trusting that I can still be strong. Movement reconnects the mind and body in ways that nothing else can. It anchors you in the present moment and teaches you that healing isn't found in stillness, but in motion, in rhythm, in the quiet grace of showing up for yourself again and again. Consistency beats intensity. One of those truths that sounds simple but takes a lifetime to really understand. When you're young, it's easy to chase extremes, long workouts, sick diets, quick results. But as you grow older, you realize that the magic isn't in how hard you push once it's in how gently and regularly you show up. The body, especially after 50, responds best to rhythm. It craves patterns, repetition, and small, steady challenges. You don't need to break yourself to rebuild yourself. You just need to keep showing up, even on the days you don't feel like it. Think of your body like a garden. If you water it once a month, nothing grows. But if you give it a little attention every day, just enough sunlight, just enough nourishment, things flourish. That's exactly how strength works after 50. You don't need to lift the heaviest weights or run the farthest distance. You need to keep moving, keep feeding your muscles, keep listening to what your body needs. Over time, those small moments of care compound into something powerful, and not flashy, yet quiet, patient progress, but that's the kind that lasts. Consistency teaches you patience, and patience gives you results. You might not see change in a week or even a month, but one day you'll realize your steps feel lighter, your energy higher, your body more alive. You'll reach for something heavy and notice it doesn't strain you the way it is to. That the reward of consistency, invisible growth that suddenly becomes undeniable. When you commit to the long game, you stop rushing the process. You stop demanding perfection. You understand that progress isn't a straight line. It's a rhythm, forward, pause, forward again. The beautiful part is consistency doesn't demand perfection. You miss a day, you can rest when you're tired, and still, long in your return, you're winning. That's the secret turn. Always return. Every walk, every stretch, every nutritious meal is a brick in the foundation of your future self. Even the smallest effort sends a signal to your body that says, I'm still investing in you. and your body will always respond to investment. It's easy to underestimate the power of routine because it feels ordinary. But ordinary things, done daily, create extraordinary change. You may not feel the difference in one day of walking, but walk every day for 6 months and you'll feel like a different person. The discipline of showing up builds something stronger than muscle. It builds trust. Trust between you and your body, between you and your word. Intensity burns bright but fades fast. Consistency glows quietly and never goes out. You don't have to be the strongest in the room. You just have to be the one who doesn't quit. Strength built slowly, with patience and presence, has a different kind of beauty. It's rooted, calm, lasting. So take your time, keep moving, and remember that every small effort today becomes tomorrow strength, not through perfection, but through persistence. Nutrition fuels recovery and growth. It's such a simple truth that it's the one so many overlook. We live in a world where food has become convenience, not nourishment. But your body, especially after 50, doesn't want quick kicks. It wants care.
The kind of food that speaks to it, that tells your cells, here's what you need to rebuild. Every bite you take is a message, and your body listens. When you feed it right, it thanks you with energy, strength, and renewal. When you don't, it struggles. Food isn't just about filling your stomach, it's about fueling your life. After 50, your body becomes more sensitive to what you give it. You might notice that skipping meals, eating too little protein, or relying on processed foods leaves you drained. That because your body's ability to repair and rebuild slows down a bit, and it needs higher quality fuel to keep up. Protein, for example, becomes a daily priority, not just for athletes, but for anyone who wants to maintain or regain muscle. Eggs, fish, beans, lentils, yogurt, chicken, tofu, these foods are not luxuries, they're building blocks. When you eat them consistently, your muscles see the raw material they need to grow stronger. But it's not only about protein, color matters too. The vibrant greens, reds, oranges, and purples on your plate are full of antioxidants and vitamins that help your body fight inflammation and recover from exercise. As you age, chronic inflammation quietly chips away at your strength, so food becomes your first line of defense. A plate full of color isn't just beautiful, it's medicine in disguise. Every fruit, every vegetable adds to the orchestra that keeps your body performing. And then the water.
Something so simple, yet so powerful. Dehydration makes you tired, stiff, and slow to recover. Muscles can't work properly without it. Drink throughout the day, not just when you're thirsty. Think of water as oil for your machine. Without it, even the strongest engine can't run smoothly. Healthy fats, too, are essential allies. After 50, hormones shift, and these fats from avocados, olive oil, nuts, and seeds help balance your system, protect your joints, and give you long-lasting energy. Fat isn't the enemy neglect is. Your body needs it in moderation, just as it needs carbohydrates from whole grains and fruits for energy. It's all about balance, the kind that fuels you instead of draining you. What's beautiful about nutrition is that it's not about restriction, it's about abundance. You don't have to eat less, you have to eat better. The right foods don't just build muscle, they build mood, clarity, and joy. You'll notice that when you nourish yourself well, your thoughts feel lighter, your focus sharper, your sleep deeper. Food affects everything, not just your body, but your spirit too. When you start treating meals as acts of care rather than chores, everything changes. You begin to cook slower, taste deeper, and appreciate the way good food makes you feel. And little by little, you'll see that your body responds in kind. Your strength returns, your recovery improves, and your energy rises, not because of luck, but because you decided to feed yourself with purpose. Sleep and rest are your secret weapons. It sounds so gentle, almost too simple to be powerful, but it's the truth most people ignore. We live in a culture that worships hustle, where rest is mistaken for laziness and stillness feels like guilt. But your body doesn't rebuild in chaos, it rebuilds in calm. Every muscle you strengthen during the day repairs itself at night. Every ounce of effort you give in movement and discipline is completed by what happens when you close your eyes. Sleep isn't a reward you earn, it's a necessity your body demands, a quiet process of healing and restoration that no supplement or shortcut can replace. After 50, rest becomes even more sacred. Your body is wiser now, more sensitive, more communicative. It tells you clearly when it's tired, when it needs to slow down. Ignoring that voice on deep pit fatigue, and fatigue is the enemy of growth. When you rest, your body releases growth hormone, the very chemical that repairs muscle tissue, strengthens bones, and maintains vitality. It's nature's own recovery program, built into your biology, free and waiting to serve you every night. But it needs your cooperation. It needs you to value rest as much as effort. Think of sleep as your silent workout. You don't feel it happening, but it's where your body does its deepest work. Your immune system resets, your hormones balance, your mind detoxes. The next morning, if you've slept deeply, you don't just feel rested, you feel capable, grounded, more yourself. That's the power of proper rest. Without it, even the healthiest diet or most consistent exercise can only go so far. Because without recovery, your muscles stay broken down, your energy drains, and your motivation disappears. Rest also doesn't just mean sleep. It's how you move through your day. It's the pauses you take between moments of effort, the way you breathe when life feels heavy, the permission you give yourself to stop and be still. Active rest can be a slow walk in nature, a warm bath, reading quietly, or even sitting outside with your thoughts. These moments soothe your nervous system, lower inflammation, and allow your body to focus on repair. You don't always have to go harder. Sometimes you just need to go softer. When you start honoring rest, something shifts. Your body begins to trust you again. It no longer feels like it's being pushed or punished. It feels supported. And in that safety, it thrives. You wake up with more strength. Your workouts feel easier, your mind clearer. You begin to notice the connection between peace and power, how one feeds the other. Rest isn't the opposite of productivity, it's the foundation of it. Without it, everything else eventually collapses. When the world tells you to keep grinding, listen to your body instead. It's wiser. It knows that restoration isn't weakness, it's preparation, that the stillness of night is what gives strength to the light of day. When you let yourself rest fully, you're not falling behind. You're gathering energy to rise stronger, calmer, and more complete than fall. Mindset shapes your body, it always has. The way you think about yourself, your age, your strength, your potential, all of it creates a language that your body quietly listens to. If you tell yourself you're too old, your body will obey and slow down. But if you tell yourself you're capable, resilient, and still growing, your body responds in kind. That's the beautiful, almost mystical connection between thought and biology. Your muscles don't just grow from lifting weights, they grow from belief, from the energy of show up with purpose. When you approach health with frustration or fear, everything feels heavier. But when you approach it with gratitude, gratitude that you could still move, still breathe, still begin again, the journey transforms into something sacred. After 50, mindset becomes your greatest ally. It's the bridge between who you were and who you're becoming. Some people spend this chapter mourning their youth, but the wiser ones use it to celebrate wisdom, patience, and self-acceptance. They stop trying to fight time and instead start working with it. The body listens to that shift. When you see aging as strength, not loss, your posture changes. Your energy rises. Your workouts feel purposeful instead of punishing. Every repetition becomes an act of self-respect rather than self-correction. The truth is, your body doesn't want perfection. It wants partnership. And that partnership begins with kindness in the way you speak to yourself. The inner critic that says you can't do this anymore needs to be replaced with a gentler voice. I can begin today. Every morning you wake up and decide to take care of yourself. That's a victory. Mindset isn't about motivation that comes and goes. It's about prepared. It's about understanding that growth is still possible, that it's always possible. The mind has such an incredible influence over the physical. When you move your body with joy instead of dread, your muscles relax into strength. When you eat with mindfulness instead of guilt, your digestion improves. When you rest with intention instead of anxiety, your sleep deep. Everything begins in thought, then flows into action. That's why positive mindset isn't just feel-good advice. It's science, it's physiology, it's the emotional foundation for physical renewal. And yet it's not about blind optimism, it's about honesty, the kind that acknowledges change without resisting it, the kind that says, yes, I'm older, but I'm still powerful, I'm still evolving. That kind of honesty frees you, lets you let go of the pressure to be who you once were and instead love who you are now. You start to find peace in progress, not perfection. You find beauty in effort, not outcomes. And you discover that the moment you choose to believe in your own strength again, everything inside you begins to shift. The weight you've been carrying, physical or emotional, starts to lighten, and you remember that strength was never something you lost. It was something waiting to be reawakened. Community and support matter more than most people realize. Healing, growth, and transformation were never meant to be lonely paths. We often romanticize independence, the idea of doing it all ourselves, but the truth is we are wired for connection. Our bodies, our hearts, and even our nervous systems thrive when we feel seen, supported, and understood. Especially after 50, when life begins to shift and routines change, community becomes a lifeline. It's not just about company, it's about energy. Being in others who share your goals, your struggles, and your will to grow keeps your fire alive when your old flame feels dim. Something profoundly healing about moving, eating, or even resting in the presence of others who care. When you walk with a friend, you walk farther. When you exercise with a group, you push a little harder. When you share your journey, your discipline feels lighter. It's not magic, it's biology. Human connection releases oxytocin, a hormone that softens stress and strengthens your sense of safety. And safety, both emotional and physical, is what allows your body to thrive. You can't rebuild muscle or health from a place of isolation and fear. You rebuild from a place of belonging. Community doesn't have to mean a big crowd. Sometimes it's just one person, a friend who checks in, a neighbor who joins you for morning walks, or an online group that celebrates your milestones. These small connections become anchors that keep you steady when motivation wavers. When you see others striving, you remember that effort is shared. When you see someone older than you lifting, walking, dancing, living fully, something inside you says, if they can, I can too. Inspiration is contagious, and that the quiet power of community. Support isn't just about encouragement, it's also about accountability. When you know someone is expecting you, you show up, not out of obligation, but out of shared respect. You become each other mirrors, reflecting back the strength that sometimes hides behind self-doubt. And in that reflection, you start to believe in yourself again. The simple act of being witnessed in your journey, whether through conversation, laughter, or shared silence, reinforces your commitment to growth. But perhaps the most beautiful part of community is that it reminds you you're not alone in your humanity. Everyone is carrying something: fears, aches, dreams, hopes. And when we come together, those burdens feel lighter. You start to see that health isn't just about strong muscles or perfect habits, it's about emotional nourishment too. The joy of being understood, the warmth of a smile, the energy of shared purpose. All of it feeds your soul in ways no diet or workout could. Well, seek out connection wherever you can. Join a walking club, a fitness class, a meditation group, or simply invite someone to share a meal. You'll find that growth happens faster when hearts move together. The people owed you can lift you higher than discipline alone could, and in return, your presence lifts them. Because strength shared becomes strength multiplied, and that in the end is how we truly thrive. Rebuilding muscle equals freedom, a kind of freedom that extends far beyond the physical. It's the freedom to move without fear, to live without hesitation, to do the things that make you feel alive. When you rebuild your strength, you reclaim a part of yourself that might have gone quiet over the years. You remember what it feels like to trust your own body again. That confidence, that sense of ownership over how you move, how you stand, how you live is priceless. It's not about chasing youth or perfection. It's about reclaiming your independence, your power, your joy. You see, every ounce of muscle you rebuild gives you back something you thought you'd lost: balance, energy, ease, and the ability to fully participate in your own life. Think about how many moments in life depend on movement. Getting up from the floor, carrying groceries, lifting a grandchild, walking upstairs, dancing in the kitchen. These are small actions, but they're the foundation of freedom. When you lose muscle, those things slowly become harder, and you start adjusting your life of your limitations. But when you rebuild muscle, Even slowly, those limitations begin to dissolve. Suddenly, your world expands again. You can travel, explore, play, and move without hesitation. Strength gives you choice, and choice is the essence of freedom. What's truly beautiful about this process is how empowering it feels. At any age, taking charge of your body changes how you see yourself. You stop thinking of aging as decline and start seeing it as evolution. Each workout, each walk, each meal that nourishes you becomes an act of liberation. You begin to move not because you have to, but because you get to. That shift from obligation to gratitude changes everything. The body follows the mind, and when the mind is free, the body becomes capable of so much more than you imagined. There also a quiet dignity that comes with strength. It's not about vanity or roaring off. It's about peace. Knowing that your body can support you, that you can rely on yourself, creates a sense of security that no one can give you. You stand taller, breathe deeper, and move with more intention. You stop feeling that time is taking things away from you. You start feeling that you're taking life back. The freedom that comes from rebuilding muscle also reaches inward. When your body feels strong, your spirit follows. You become more open, more curious, more willing to say yes to new experiences. You stop living in avoidance and start living in expansion. You realize that the strength you're building isn't just in your legs or your arms, it's in your choices, your boundaries, your mindset. It's the strength to live fully on your own terms, to meet the years ahead with courage and grace. In the end, rebuilding muscle is about reclaiming control over your story. It's proof that no matter your age, you can rewrite the narrative of what's possible for your body. It's not about fighting age, it's about partnering with it, learning from it, and using that wisdom to live freely. The strength you build in your muscles becomes a mirror for the strength within you, a reminder that freedom is not something you wait for, it's something you create, one movement, one choice, one breath at a time. It's never too late to start. Those words carry more power than most people realize. So many dreams, so many goals, so many moments of potential die quietly because someone convinced themselves that time has passed them by. But the truth is, your body doesn't keep score of your missed beginnings. It only responds to what you do now. Whether you're 50, 60, or 70, your body is still listening, still adapting, still capable of extraordinary change. The moment you decide to move, to eat better, to rest, to care again, your body gets the message. It doesn't care about how long it's been. It only knows that you've come home to it again. There's something profoundly human about starting over. It requires humility, courage, and hope. To begin again at 50 isn't failure, it's wisdom. You know yourself better now. You understand what matters. You've learned that chasing perfection or quick results leads nowhere. So this time, your beginning can be different. It can be gentle. It can be rooted in self-respect, not self-punishment. You don't have to go fast. You just have to begin. Because beginnings, no matter is small, hold a kind of magic that can change the entire direction of your life. Starting now doesn't mean erasing the past. It means using it as a foundation. Every experience, every lesson, every scar becomes part of your strength. You've already proven you can endure. Now you get to prove that you can grow. And it doesn't matter if it's been years since you last worked out, since you last felt strong, since you last believed in yourself. The human body and mind are astonishingly forgiving. Give them effort, give them love, and they respond, slowly, quietly at first, a little more energy here, a little more strength there, until one day you notice that you feel alive again. What stops most people isn't age, it's fear. The fear of looking foolish, the fear of being behind, the fear that it's too late. But the moment you take that first step, that fear begins to lose its power, because you realize that no one is watching you as closely as you think. Everyone is too busy fighting their own battles, starting their own beginnings. Your journey is yours alone, and it deserves to be honored, not compared. The courage to begin is what separates those who fade from those who flourish. Each small action you take, a short walk, a balanced meal, a few minutes of stretching, becomes a vote for the life you want. Those little efforts accumulate. They whisper to your body, I'm here, I'm trying. And that enough. Consistency will build what confidence cannot. Every day you choose to show up, you're rewriting what's possible. You're telling time that it doesn't define you, you define time. That a quiet beauty in beginning later. You appreciate progress more deeply. You celebrate small wins with more gratitude. You no longer chase youth. You cultivate strength. You start not because you have something to prove, but because you finally understand how precious this one body, this one life truly is. And when you reuse that, it becomes clear. It's never too late to start. Because every moment you begin again, you reclaim the life that always been waiting for you.